Guys, how's it going? I know last week I scheduled a stream. I know last week I scheduled a stream, but and I forgot to hit the play button forgot to hit the go live button, but I still did the CAD, so you still didn't get to see it. I've been working on Bigfoot a lot lately because I ran it as a plastic ant at, where was it? That was at PopCon over in Indianapolis. How did Hodag not even get talked about? It's because I only did like 2 fights and I lost both of them. If I would have actually like won any number of fights, maybe I would have actually got talked about. And I was always in cage 5 for both the fights. That also didn't help. I didn't make it it was only, I don't remember what the cage number was, but there was only one cage where they were actually showing the fights. But yeah, if I would have like won any more fights or been in the main cage, I think, because people are definitely interested in the robot, and it definitely isn't quite where it needs to be. But yeah, I was hoping that I would do better at the event and get talked about, but that's not quite how it shaked out. So I just came here to give a chance to talk about it. Yeah, I think over the next 2 months, I think starting next week during the streams, I'm going to start doing the CAD for the version 3 of Hodag, so I can actually make the drive a little bit more consistent, as well as get the weapon punching a lot harder, because the weapon doesn't do enough right now. But yeah, I also want to talk about the NHRL event, because I felt like this is one event that deserves a stream. I'll still do an edited video like I normally do. But I just wanted to do a stream. Also, that I was hoping maybe I could take parts of this stream and use it in the video, so maybe I could save time on recording, because that ends up being a big part of it. My first fight was against Melon Baller. I knew that obviously ahead of time, and I actually talked to another builder from the Northeast, and he told me and he went to events with Melon Baller, and a lot of people sort of told me what to expect. I knew it was going to be a pretty good horizontal. It wasn't. I felt like this was going to this fight that I could win it, but I wasn't sure. But I knew it wasn't a sure thing. I figured it'd be a pretty even fight. But I'm just gonna play it, and then we'll talk about what happened. I did go in with this copy wasn't quite driving as straight as the other copy, because I figured in my second fight I'd have to fight a vertical spinner based on where the thing was going, and I knew whatever I'd end up going against with Melon Baller with, I'd have to do maintenance on. So this one isn't driving quite as straight as the other copy I have. That's why it did turn to the side. Got self-right. Despite not being able to drive straight, I'm still able to hit him with the, ooh. But yeah, I can't move because the one wheel is, this wheel is cut, and the gearbox on this one, this motor ends up dying. So I just like can't drive. And yeah. I ended up tapping out there because obviously I couldn't drive and there was no sense in taking extra damage. I mean, I feel like 12-pounders, I feel like with 3-pounders, people are more ready to get creative than with 12-pounders. I feel like 12-pounders, the more expensive a robot is, the less inclined people are to do stuff like this. Like, I'm hesitant to, if I was going to make a 12-pounder, to make it a bigger version of Hodag? Oh, it's not receiving. Figure out what's going on. Oh no. My internet working? Not enough video to maintain smoothly. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I think there is an interruption there. Still here? Okay. But yeah, I ended up, if we like slow it down a little bit, playback speed. I'm gonna mute that while it's, I still managed to like, despite me accidentally it not being able to drive as straight, I still managed to hit it with the wedge, which is what I want to hit him with, even though I would kind of biff the box rush because the drive, like the whole time, like going into the event, I knew it wasn't going to be straight. We're still good. Interesting. So you're a full court fan. Yeah, you could. But yeah, here I end up, because I can't drive straight, I end up sort of trying to, I didn't do a very good job of crab walking here because I crab walked too far and then I ended up basically driving that wheel into him. And then I have even less drive than I did a moment ago. I think if I would have been able to keep my cool better once I lost that side of drive, I might have been able to do a little bit better. But then it's basically the one wheel was cut and the other wheel, so this is the wheel that was cut. And I think it wouldn't have been less of an issue, but it would like catch on the outside, but I think it was either the outside of the robot or the inside of the robot. It would like get caught on. But yeah, I didn't really pay attention too much to the 12s, but I don't know. I know a lot. I know full court is a very divisive robot. Not exactly the most exciting one to watch. But yeah, this he didn't even hit the wedge that much, and this is how much he took out of it. So this took a lot of damage. I probably could have done even more because I think this is 5 millimeters of solid, and then there's the infill. That's what. Although, and this was also a used front. This was not a fresh front, but this is the most damage that front took. This was inoperable after that. And melon, see all that. That's the cut. So he cut through the back. I maybe want to do more to make that more protected in the future, but it wouldn't have happened had I not been driving dumb. And this is the first time. So this is what the motor. So this is the issue that was with the motor, I think. So yeah, or no, that was the second fight. Whoops, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. That was after the second fight. Because the first fight, it was a gearbox. Like something in the gearbox came wrong in the first fight, and that's why I was crab walking at the start. My second fight, whoever it was, because I ended up losing that one, I would have fought the loser of the first fight, but the guy, I guess, didn't show up. And so I essentially had a forfeit for the second round, so I didn't even get to fight that one. I had a feeling it was going to be a easier fight because it was by like some community college and it was like a robot that I'd never fought before. But alas, I didn't actually get to fight them. So I had to fight Buzz Thrill because Buzz Thrill won their first fight and then lost to Jelly Baby. I'll make sure we got the back speed 1. Get some volume. I wasn't sure what to expect because I knew I was feeling pretty good going into this one because watching his fight against Jelly Baby, the Jelly Baby just like wiped the floor with him. So I decided to go with the more aggressive approach and go with the all fat forks. That way I could like actually engage with my weapon because when I have the wedge like I did with melon baller, I can't actually hit anything with my weapon because of how short the weapon is and how much further out the wedge goes. But we'll go over this one. This is obviously a team from, or a build, the guy, I can't remember his name, from Team Honeycracked. This is the copy that drives straight. That is not usually how Hodag self-writes, but it is a more. I decided to wait for him to use his unstick, because and I didn't want to get in the way of the house robot. That's why I didn't go in for a hit, but. I think he ends up hitting one of the shoulder. He ends up hitting one of the shoulder bolts or something, and so that fork is askew. And self-right, just in time. I end up kind of biffing when I try to go across. It's not exactly my best driving. I think when I do the video, I'll definitely edit this in a way you can see it when we go off the screen. His weapon goes down, so I'm feeling pretty good, but. Oh, no. But yeah, I was able to get off of there. I've yet to get stuck on anything with Hodag. Yeah. A lot of times when I try to go for free hits when they're stuck on stuff, I end up biffing it anyways. But I think if the house robot was on the other side of the arena, I would have gone in for it. Since the house robot was right there... Yeah, you can see like pretty much the rest of the fight he's running away from me. But since he's actually a pretty good driver, it's really difficult for me to like catch him. Get a little punch in there. I don't know. Oh yeah, I remember what happened with the drive here. I think I'm trying to remember. Yeah, with that side, I'll go. Hopefully I took a picture. I know I have a picture somewhere, but the motor turns inside of the robot. Like the motor mount is in the TPU with a polycarbonate like holding it in place, and it tilted. I think it got too hot during this fight with all that driving, and so it just like turned and was kind of catching. And then the other motor just dies. The right, yeah, Hodag's right motor. This one ends up just dying, and you can see the motor in the later footage the footage I was showing earlier. When I thought it was for the other one, and then I used the unstick just to make it to the bell. And I'm hoping that maybe, yeah. So we essentially, it ends up going to the judge's decision. He completely lost his weapon and I completely lost my drive, and he ends up taking the judge's decision. I think it was pretty close. I think even if one of those drive sides would have been completely working, I would have had the judge's decision. But since it was since I had to be saved by the house bot and I had to be saved by my unstick. That's definitely one of the things I want to change. I want to change a little bit how that's mounted so that can't like get melted in there. And I used the same back at a event after this, which was a mistake because I had similar issues with the drive. But I'm not sure if I want to switch it from being no longer into the TPU or if I just want to make the thing holding it a more rigid plastic, because I have a glass filled nylon that should work better than the polycarbonate I was using. But if we go back to some of the damage footage, he ended up chewing up the forks a bit, unsurprisingly. Oops, there we go. But overall, the forks were still pretty good. They could have gone a bit longer. I think this might have even been from a previous fight because I knew they're gonna get. This was from a previous fight against a drum spinner because I purposely used chewed up forks because I knew he would chew up my forks. But overall, he didn't even do much to those forks. So I think choosing the forks over the wedge, he did get a gash in the side. But I do think choosing the forks over the wedge was the right move for that fight. Oh yeah, this is, you can see since this is a little too soft, it ends up bending. So it allows this to get stuck in there, and the wire, you can normally the wires come straight out this way, but they're upward. And the problem is because it's TPU and this gets hot, it basically melts a new hole. So realistically, I can't use that back anymore. Even though I did use the back, I shouldn't have, because in more intense fights, this happened again in 2 more fights at the next event. More on that later, but. And this is, nope. This is what the motor is doing. I think it was a stator wire issue or something. Not something I can easily fix on the fly. But originally I was only going to send Hodag up to, or down, over to NHRL like once. Because it's such a hard robot to build, and I was going to move on to a different beetle. But I feel like Hodag deserved better than to like get 2 losing fights at NHRL. So I do have a lot of changes that I want to make to, we'll just play that one from a different angle, see how this ends up looking. But just to have something playing while I keep talking. But yeah, I'm going to change how it's going to be a complete overhaul. I'm not even going to use the old CAD. I'm just going to start the CAD from scratch, but use the old one as a reference because I still want it to be Hodag shaped. So I want the external to look very similar. And I'll probably do, I'm going to change how it's mounted slightly. I'll probably do some sort of UHMW to keep it also rigid. And instead of the shoulder bolts going to the front wheels like I have now, I might use like the Repeat Robotics axle shafts. That way it's that way it ends up not being able to bend as much, and I don't have to use super glue to keep it in place. I don't know why I didn't take a picture of the front of the robot. Now that I think about it, because he ended up getting it bent up right at the beginning of the fight. The thing is also I want to change it in a way that doesn't change the center of balance too much, because you can see that the center of balance is just right, that I'm able to self-right. I'm also surprised how I never get stuck in the wall with the forks. I'm always able to get out. Even there, because even there I'm able to like punch to like use the gyro to get off, but I want to change the weapon. What I want to change about the weapon is I want to increase the diameter of the shafts mounting it. Currently they're 3/16, so I want to up that up to 1/4 of an inch. If a 1/4 of an inch isn't enough, then I don't know what I'm going to do, because pretty much at every event I end up basically having to throw away linear shafts because they get bent. They don't get bent as much as they used to when they're 1/8 of an inch, but still. I've actually heard people say it does look like flashbang. Specifically, because I actually for this I printed this out of fire resistant polycarbonate to go against flamethrowers, and people said this version looks a lot like flashbang. But I never got to use it because I only did those 2 fights. And I think it's a lot harder to get a grudge match with, I think, with flamethrowers anyways. It was a lot easier to print with this filament than I originally thought, but I also, for the weapon, so the linear shaft's bigger. I want to put UHMW underneath it, so when it slides and if it gets hit, it's not able to. Yeah, that's well, that's just normal flashbang, I think. Isn't flashbang normally white? Because the thing is, Hodag kind of has to be green. So, like, so it being white is a pretty big departure. Like, the Hodag is quintessentially green. And, what was I saying? I'll probably also increase the weapon diameter by 1/2 inch, or if I can't, I'm going to increase it by some amount, ideally 1/2 inch, and I'll even, oh yeah, it was blue. What was I saying? And if I have to, I'll increase the thickness of the blade, because right now it's 3/8 of an inch thick, the weapon blade, because I have no diameter to it, so I wanted to add some MOI by increasing the width. And then the biggest change is changing how the punching mechanism works, because now it's the pulley. I wanted to change the mechanism so instead of a pulley, it's a... Oh, yeah, it did compete in that. I want to change it in a way such that it'll... it uses a racking gear instead of a... What am I trying to say? A racking gear instead of the pulley system it uses now. Because I feel like then it'll be a lot easier to just use a brushless motor. And in a lot of fights, the pulley ends up breaking. Because, like I meant, most recently, when the pulley usually breaks, it's when it gets shot up in the air by a vertical spinner and then comes back down on the weapon. And then it bends the shaft. And then when I try to punch with the mechanism with a broken shaft, it can't move. And so it just breaks the pulley. But yeah, that was, maybe this is a better view of the melon baller fight. I unfortunately didn't think about the fact that I'm talking about an event where I only got 2 fights, and one of them. Oh, this isn't the view. Fight house. It's I realized I would quickly run out of things to talk about when I only had 2 fights at this event. I didn't really plan too much ahead. I just wanted to get back into streaming again. But yeah, I really wanted to get more fights in, to get fights against a lot of robots that I don't normally get to fight against. I am glad that I didn't have to fight any other NHRL bot, or not NHRL, any other MRCA bots, because I could just fight MRCA bots at home. But yeah, I'm like barely not getting counted out here, essentially. You're thinking, oh, I had the same, you're thinking of Melon. This is Melon Baller. Melon Brawler is a control bot. This is Melon Baller. I actually thought the same thing when it came up. Melon Baller and Melon Brawler are 2 different robots. This is Melon Baller. But yes, Melon... Yeah, green beans. Green beans? But yeah, it's a very confusing. Oh, I forgot to mention, before the fight, Melon Baller was like, smell my robot. He apparently soaked a rag in some sort of melon juice and stuck it in like the front part where the weapon is of his robot, and to make it smell like melons. And after the fight, he gave me a slice of watermelon. So he's really going all in on the melon theme. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't have something on theme to give to people. But yeah, that was a I guess I can show you guys where I'm at with Bigfoot since I'm sitting right here in the background. This is what actually, one second. I'm gonna switch to campfire stories maybe. I was gonna share where I am with the Bigfoot. This is because old version of Bigfoot is right behind me somewhere. I have an assembled copy. There we go. Because this is old Bigfoot. This is mostly 3D printed except for the forks. This is actually a TPU top, but there's 4 repeat robotics brushed motors for the drive, and then can you see it here? And then for the for this weapon motor, or for the weapon, it's a servo, and then the lifter mechanism is just a set of linkages going to this from the servo horn. But I completely redesigned it from the ground up, and now it uses tangential drive so I got 4 wheels, so it's a lot faster. I did have to change some dimensions. I reprinted the sides because there wasn't enough interaction between the wheels and stuff, because this is, see, it's not like the other wheels, it's kind of slipping, you can sort of tell. So I had to reprint those to get a little bit more. But the exciting parts also for the flipper mechanism. This is the Repeat Robotics Mini, the Mark III, but it's the high reduction one. So there's a gear coming attached to the end of the drive motor, and it's going to essentially a 3D printed aluminum gear on the flipper, and then the rest is plastic. I just needed this aluminum so it actually engage. Otherwise, if this was plastic, it would just chew through it. And if the gear on the other part was plastic, then it wouldn't. Drive would not give enough pushing power. Is that true? I know there is less pushing power. I think enough is yet to be seen. It is. I know it has less, but enough, that's debatable. I know you definitely don't get as much because you're not pushing on something hard. You're just using the friction on the wheels. I guess I haven't tested enough to really decide if it's not good, if it's not enough. But that's yet to be seen. I haven't had a huge problem, but and also in terms of pushing power, I am worried enough that I don't want to try tangential drive on my beetles, but I feel like with ants I can get away with stuff I can't get away with on beetles. So I would say maybe it's definitely less. Enough is just the word that I am worried, because Bigfoot is a control bot, that tangential drive won't get enough push. So maybe it might be better suited for a more damaging robot where I just need to be speedy and get my weapon into him. I think that's kind of why Wendigo might have ended up my undercutter might have been more suited for it. But honestly, I'm building this in a way, the reason why this is so wide, since I'm changing the size of the weapon since I'm changing the size of the weapon on Hodag, I have to, or I should, I'm probably going to switch out what kV of motor I'm using for the weapon, for the actual spinner, and I'm likely going to switch it out for a higher kV, but I'm still going to have those motors, so I was probably just going to have a version of this where I just slap the, like, instead of, where I just take out these uprights, slap in some uprights to hold a hub motor, and then just roll with that. But also, I changed this fork. I was reading that on Reddit and Tingle. Ooh, I would not recommend doing it for a 30 pounder. It might not be enough for a 30 pounder. I would be hesitant to do that. Obviously, I've never built a 30 pounder, so I'm not exactly the most qualified person to ask about that, but I would be hesitant. I did realize when I was designing the sides that it does look like Blight. That did not escape me, the comparisons. Especially now that compared to the other one, it's not as long. It's a much less wide it's about the same width, like a little bit wider, and not nearly as long. Because there's really no benefit to being a long robot. But yeah, I also changed the front. This might look familiar. I basically have the front very similar to what I did with Hodag, just shrunk down and fit to the dimensions that I have restricted here. Because it was that was one thing I did like. It's probably gonna have a very similar fork situation as Hodag does. But yeah, I did kind of think that it does look like Blight. I may end up What's funny is I may end up having to fight Blight at the next event. Blight is a pretty slick design. I think this robot will definitely be faster than Blight, but I've yet to fight Blight, even though I guess the reason I haven't fought Blight is because Bigfoot really hasn't fought up at RSL, so I haven't been having my super try-hard ants up there at RSL up in Hastings, up in Minnesota. And he's more of the, I think that's a big reason why I haven't fought Blight. I want to, maybe I will in Iowa at the end of this month. That's 2 weeks, two weekends from now, I believe. I'll be going down to Iowa, hopefully with the full combat version of this. I don't see, at this rate, I would have to F up pretty bad because even though this weekend I'll be out of town, I'll be up at the Dells, but I'll have a whole other weekend after that to make sure this is ready. Binge watch that bot. Binge watch which robot? My robot? Or, because I don't know if there's videos on Blight. In a lot of my Bigfoot videos, those will be my older videos. The early videos I made on Bigfoot are rough. I definitely... those might not be as easy to watch, but some of the later ones will be a lot better. Because my first couple of videos, I was just streaming onto Twitch, and then I was just uploading the VODs. Oh, Blight. Does he post videos on Blight? I know he ends up getting highlight reels on RSL, but I don't know if he posts videos. Because I'm not as aware, because I know some people just post their fights. But yeah, one thing I'm worried about with the drive is I've heard people say you definitely want the tangential drive to be rigid, and I'm printing a lot of this out of TPU because I think a big part of Bigfoot is being as 3D printed as possible. But we will see. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, actually, we can probably check. Gonna see some weird stuff that I watch. Actually, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I forgot it's just me on the screen. Blight robot. Ooh. Oh, let me switch 1 second. So he does have a channel, but he's posted 2 fights 9 months ago and 1 video 3 years ago. Hopefully produce some videos eventually. I don't know about that. These are 2 different... What's interesting, these are 2 different events. I'm not sure. Did he even... Is this just the fight?
Yep.
Oh, this is just the fight, I think. Interesting what videos he chose. It was 9 months. That would have been right at the end of last year, before finals. I remember. Oh, yeah. Kitty robots. But yeah, hopefully I get to fight him at some point. And maybe he'll post more videos. I don't know. But I'm just sort of rambling. Oh my God, it's only been like 30 minutes. And I have running out of things to talk about. But yeah. Because I feel I know there's a bunch of robots that I ended up working on, like Ozark Howler, Wendigo, and I talked about, and I was working on that. Yeah, a lot of people end up just posting like the fight videos, which I feel if I'm gonna go through the effort to upload them to YouTube, I'm gonna end up actually having a little bit more. Heck, I found. Whoop. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people post just the videos. I think some people post them just for the sake of using YouTube as essentially a file sharing site, more so than like trying to get like an audience. They're just like, oh, I'll just post it, and then what was I saying? They just post it, then like, okay, now I can watch fights, or I can share other fights with people. Carlton 37. Carlton 379. Oh yeah. Big hits. Full ant-weight action. No, interesting. I see. Oh, I'm not familiar with this. Did I watch that one? Oh, I have seen a couple of these videos. I've watched I wasn't a huge fan of the videos, but yeah, I've seen a couple of these. Oh, he fought Mudskier. Oh, that was probably at the Tennessee event. Yeah, maybe I need to go back and watch those. His videos apparently get more views than mine do. He's got more subscribers and a lot fewer videos. Okay. Umbelina. Bagamizer. Oh. Yeah, the TNRL. I kind of wanted to go to that one, but I couldn't justify driving all the way down to Tennessee from Wisconsin. That was just a little too far for me. At least I go to an event like that, I guess. Are they doing that again this year? Because I remember that was last year, so I'm curious if they're going to try to do it again. You have to circle back. Sucks that they're that. Oh, wait, why is there not going to be more Tennessee events? Not more Tennessee events anymore? What ended up happening with that? Oh, they moved to Florida. There's a similar situation here in Wisconsin where the guy that ran all the Wisconsin events ended up just sort of doing something else. And Part of me wants to be the one that start events again in Wisconsin, but that's a lot. That's a lot of work. I don't have time because I spend so much time making videos and making robots. I don't have time to plan an event. Oh yeah, Kentucky is lonely. I can imagine. Yeah, because the shortest drives I've been having all year has been like 5 hours. Whether it's going to Minnesota or Indiana. Actually, I haven't done a Michigan event this year, which is weird. Been going to Missouri. I went to Missouri twice though. Yeah, I'll have to see what's going on. You don't build bots? Yeah, I was like, I just assumed you built robots. You have robotics in the name. You're watching a combat robot channel. But yeah, it's all so much time. Especially like I think I would have a lot more time if I didn't also make videos. But I want to make videos because I kind of want to get, I don't know, some return on investment on my robots, and I also feel like there's not there's not enough, I think, good stuff that like I like to watch. There's not enough combat robot videos on YouTube that I like to watch. And even some of the people that get views like this, like his last video was 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and then there's like a 2 month gap and stuff like that. The few people that do post and that even get any amount of views, it's like few and far between. Yeah, it's definitely, I definitely think hope it'll grow more. I think this year it's been rough with a lot of the cost of everything going up with the tariffs and stuff. I think that's really going to slow the sport down because when everything's more expensive, it's a lot harder to get people into events and get new people to invest into robots. Essentially, Vector is dead. Vector. Oh yeah, the Team Vector. I remember that. I remember Team Vector. I was because because he like blew up, getting his first video with 31,000 views. He even like had a sponsor in like some, I don't even remember which one he ended up getting a sponsor with, and then just dropped off the face of the earth. It's like, damn. I'm not sure what happened with that. It's kind of weird. Yeah, 8 months ago. I thought maybe he was. Yeah, I thought like I just YouTube wasn't serving them to me, but then I was like, wait a minute, because I was watching these because I'm like, wow, these are getting lots of views. I'm curious what's going on with that, and all of a sudden, never to be seen again. Oh, plastics. Well, they did just plastic. That's kind of surprising that they would do plastic and not regular ant. Because I haven't seen. There's very few events that he had a post. Oh, I didn't post. Oh, 5 months ago. Oh man, that was 5 months. He was working on this. Yeah, he was working on the script 5 months ago. Ooh. Yeah, because I know I had a slow month or so, a slow couple months, and my schedule in the past few months have been all over the place with personal stuff going on, but I somehow managed to make it back. Although 3 pounds, 1 pounds in plastics. Yeah, 3 pound. That seems pretty typical. I know that's what a lot of RSL here is too. 3 1s in plastics. Although we have a lot more people trying hard in the plastics, which is kind of funny because it feels like antithetical to like the point of it. If a lot of times I run plastics either for like me just trying something out or I guess yeah, me trying to make a point and do something very specific. I feel like a lot of my robots winning is like the secondary goal. Like the primary goal is to create a more interesting 12 and 30s. 250 sportsmen, that's pretty hefty. I think even sportsmen, that would be kind of rough. Like you might not need the as much overhead protection as if you did like full combat 250, but keeping him in there, you need some pretty something hefty. I want to make a 12 or a 30. If I was skipping 12 and going straight to 30, I'd need a very specific reason. But I want to make one of those bigger bots, but having to go all the way out to at least Pennsylvania, I think Pennsylvania is the closest place with events. Kind of just doesn't justify the cost. Well, plus I was looking at my timeline on how I plan on building robots, and I just couldn't find the time. I can't find the time to like build a 12 because I don't really want to do, because I would probably want to, because I want to be prudent with my money, and how I end up building robots is that I end up going through a lot of iterations. I want to build a 12 or 30 that's like, I'm not doing too many new things with. So it'd either have to be like a boring robot, a more boring robot, or it'd have to be a upscale of a robot I made at a smaller weight class, specifically 3. And I don't want to upscale Hodag. I think Hodag is expensive for a 3-pounder. Like if it was anything else, it would be cheaper. And I just don't want to. Upscaling that to a 12 would just exasperate the costs, and I already can't get it to not break in every fight. Well, not every fight. That's hyperbolic. But I think Bigfoot maybe I'll make into a 12. I think also when I upscale, now that I think about it, is there not more? Because I know undercutters have made a resurgence this year, or a surgence. I don't know if were super popular before, but I'm surprised there weren't. Now that I think about it, yeah, there should be more 12-pound undercutters. 12-pound Wendigo. I did last week finally post my Wendigo video. I ran it as a plastic ant. Doge weight. Is that a real weight? Doge weight? Are you trolling me right now? Doge. Oh, there is Doge weight. I don't know what you're talking about. Wait. Oh, 15-pound? Isn't 15-pound... Oh, 15-pound is pretty much just... Yeah. I didn't say... That sounds like a meme. Maybe I've heard Doge be used as a meme. Isn't that just a lot of schools do 15 pounds for whatever reason? But yeah, I thought there was more 12. Queen of Hearts was one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious. I feel like there's a lot of people in the Midwest that want to go up to like a 12-pound. Yeah, school only. I feel like if I don't, maybe it might not be the best time because with the price of everything right now, but I feel that in the Midwest at least, that 12s I think will be a thing in the next 2 years maybe. Like, I don't think it's that far down the pipeline. I think there are people that would build 12s if there was an event. Because I think what's probably going to happen is how 12s are going to get made is people, especially on like Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, that are closer to NHRL, they're going to end up building 12s. And then like to go to NHRL and Motorama, and then there's going to be like a Michigan event or something that's going to have an actual 12-pound event. And then people in Wisconsin and Illinois and stuff, then they're going to start building a 12-pound, and then it'll end up just growing out from there. Now that you have Ooh, wait, who are we looking for? And lost a battle. Queen of Hearts. Battlebot? Oops. Minute 50-second design overview. Oh, this is a slideshow. Kinda. Maybe I should be using exploded views in my videos. Video. "15 minutes of relax combat robots to fall asleep to." I don't think that's how that works. I don't think... Are people falling asleep to combat robot fights? 450 miles per hour. Wait, did something... Am I... 450 miles per hour is pretty fast. Drum ASMR. Yeah, I don't... I don't know if combat robotics is very ASMR. Oh, we got 12, all the RPM. Just throwing out numbers that mean nothing. 450, oh. Ooh. Yeah, that's... I have doubts that that's 450 miles per hour. Like, it might be a theoretical 450 miles per hour, but it's definitely not an actual 450 miles per hour. Like, it maybe in a vacuum. And if you give it enough spin time, but... Although, I know there are... Imagine the bite, yeah. What is bite? Oh, I didn't realize those spun independently. Now we're just watching random stuff, I guess. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I'm just realizing that this year's been a rough year for me as far as robot stuff goes, because we don't need to keep playing his video, but because I've gone 2-2 at so many events, it's been insane. Hodag has gone 2-2 at every single event except for NHRL, where I went essentially 0-2. And then Bigfoot went 2-2 at both the events, both the event I ran as a plastic ant and before. I'm really in my flop era. Bigfoot is barely still in the top 64 for qualifying for Merca finals. Hodag, after last event, fell out of the top 32. So, it's gonna be. So in this after, well, I guess starting at the end of this month, I'm focusing on getting Bigfoot qualified for finals. Oh no, like me. I guess you can't win unless you actually build a robot. You know what they say. But yeah, especially after realizing I'm like, oh, I've been not doing great this season. I'm like, I need to focus my attention on fewer robots. That's why I kind of put Ozark Howler in the bin. When to go to the side. I was doing CAD on a kitbot that I wanted to like put out the design for, but I'm like, I'm doing a bunch of stuff in this kit that I haven't tested, and I'm gonna have to spend a bunch of effort testing it. And my main robots are fighting like mediocre, I guess. Mediocre is probably the accurate word. They're not doing terribly because I'm winning almost as much as I'm losing, but I'm doing aggressively mediocre with my main robots. I should probably focus on those and get those to actually be winning fights. But yeah, I think I guess it does count as a loss if you can't end up getting it to fight. It's almost worse. Like worse than a knockout if you don't even get into it to the arena. But sometimes it do be like that. I've yet to not be able to fight, but I've definitely lost some fights that due to my own stupidity. But yeah, hope this works because I haven't really been able to test the lifter out too much. I feel like doing the brushless like drive gearbox is something that feels really simple and like it's going to be a great. If this works, I feel like a lot more people are going to be doing it after I post a video on it. But I'm either going to find out why people don't do it, or maybe I'm going to find out that a bunch of people already did it, and then I'm like, wait, you just now figure that out? But, it's getting close to 8. I think I'm going to call it since I'm kind of just think game to keep them. I mean, that's fair. I've actually I've some video games that feel like I've been neglecting and wanting to play. It's like, oh, new video games come out, but I'm like so busy like making videos and making robots. It's like, I don't have time to do anything other than build robots and make videos and fight robots. But yeah, I'm going to call it a night. Thank you, Rough House Robotics, for giving me someone to talk to. So making this a lot easier than just talking to myself for an hour. Hope you have a good night. Hope to see you. Hoping that this will be a regular thing again, a weekly thing. Gonna work on next week. We're gonna work on the CAD for Hodag. And I already reminder that I have my new Wendigo video